You know, I have this addiction. I don't really talk about it that much, um, but people that know me know that um, I have this one thing that I love to do um, to just clear my mind, and Anna knows about it. I think she's okay with it. She does it with me, and I like to walk thrift stores. I don't know what it is about thrift stores, um, but I like to walk thrift stores. I like to, I don't know, maybe it's seeing things that people have discarded or decided to part ways with, maybe find no value in it anymore. And I don't always buy things. Sometimes I just look at things and I'm like, what's the history on this? Who had this? Some things you look at and you're like, that had to have meant something special to somebody, you know? And then sometimes I walk these thrift stores and I look for inspiration. It's kind of fun. I'm like, hey, Lord, so what do you want to talk about next? If you got something, kind of give me a sign. So I'll just walk the aisles and I'll look through the shelves. And every now and then you'll come across some gems. And I've used them on these um, episodes before. Yeah, yesterday was interesting. I actually did go in with something specific in mind. And kind of like the Jonah and the Big Fish episode, you guys might have seen that. Um, I did find something. I found a toy, what looks to be a big fish or whale. I didn't think that was good enough, so I went to another thrift store with my daughter, and they happen to have a really nice whale. If you guys remember that from the Jonah and the Big Fish episode. Um, this time, I went in because I had seen a portrait of a lighthouse. Kind of interesting. There's something very unique and very breathtaking about a lighthouse. If you've ever seen one or been to one, oftentimes these are um, tourist destination sites for people that come to California on the West Coast. I've been to a few of them myself. Uh, I came across this book that talked about this lighthouse, and the story was about a lighthouse keeper who lived on a coastline where storms were, you know, on the regular, would come out of nowhere, huge waves, violent winds, black skies. And it was interesting because the sailors that made it through those storms always said the same thing. The lighthouse shone the brightest when the storms were the fiercest. It's almost like the darker the skies, the more cloudy things were, um, that's when the lighthouse shined the most. In this particular story, when the keeper grew old, someone finally asked him, how did your light never fail? It always did what it was meant to do. And the keeper smiled and he said, um, you see, the storm can shake the tower, but it can never touch the flame. The storm can shake the tower, but it can never touch the flame. Then he whispered, the light was never meant to calm the storm, only to guide you through it. Wow. Uh, just already, I'm already in a state of awe. As soon as uh, I read that part, all sorts of thoughts came over me, and I could hardly contain it. I'll tell you what hit me the hardest. I think that's exactly how the Holy Spirit works. You know, that Holy Spirit who usually we don't talk about as much seems to take the back seat to most of what we talk about in the Christian world today. We don't say too much about the Holy Spirit, but I think that's how the Holy Spirit works. Not always stopping the storm, but faithfully lighting the way through it. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge. Oh, just you could just stop there and call it a day. Just something about that word refuge. God is our refuge and strength and ever so present help in our troubles. Ah, you wouldn't need a place of refuge unless you were going to go through some things that you needed shelter from. Again, a lighthouse doesn't quiet the waves or silence the wind. It has one purpose, and that's to shine. And here's what I think most people don't know. You see, the early lighthouses didn't even have big flames. They had oil lamps. Yeah. It's not like they had these huge flames. Little oil lamps. And you wonder, like, how did it shine so bright? Well, that's because the real power came from the huge metal mirrors. Yeah, they put these huge metal mirrors behind them, and that magnified the tiny flames across the sea. Again, I think that's how the Holy Spirit works in the same way. Your faith may be small, but he focuses it into something brighter than you can expect. Here's what's pounding my head. Don't wait for the storm to stop. Look for the light that's already shining. Oh, John 14:16. John chapter 14, verse 16 through 17. Jesus says, the Spirit will be with you. Get this, forever. Did you hear that last part? Forever. You know what that word translates to? Yeah, forever. Jesus says, the Spirit will be with you forever. Blows my mind. People that think that they can lose it once they have it. I'm a nerd when it comes to weird things. And so I just had to look into this lighthouse thing some more. And I, I I found out that it's called, I think, a Fresnel lens, Fresnel, Fresnel lens. It's a ringed glass design. It can send light 20 to 30 miles with almost no energy. Imagine that. It looks delicate, but it multiplies light dramatically. Again, I think that's what the Spirit does. It takes a flicker of hope or courage and it sends it further than you could ever imagine. The Holy Spirit, I don't think always gives you the whole map, but I think He gives you the next step. When your thoughts are loud, His whisper says, uh, s- "Stay ready." When your heart feels lost, His light keeps shining. Romans 8:38 is something that everybody should like hold close to their heart. Nothing, get that word, nothing can separate us from the love of God. You know what nothing translates to? Nothing. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. You know, it's interesting. I wasn't sure if this lighthouse thing was something that I should talk about. Um, so I'm walking around the thrift store yesterday, and you get to these little baggies. There's a section of bags where they have just random stuff in it, right? And in one bag, it just seemed like it had multiple things in it. And I thought to myself, well, that's cool. There's a lighthouse. You see that? But it was multiple things. And then I noticed, I was like, wait a minute. There was another lighthouse. And I'm like, wow, that is so cool. And then along with these two items was uh, another lighthouse. How crazy is that? You see that? This last one is pretty unique in that it has a Bible verse. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. I discovered something else that was surprising about these lighthouses. They weren't built perfectly straight. You see, originally when they did build them straight, the builders realized that they cracked under pressure when they were perfectly built straight. See how there's kind of like an angle, kind of like there's a pitch to it. It's wider at the base than it is at the top. So what they did was they built many lighthouses with a slight curve in it, or a lean, like a pitch. Well, what they realized is when you did this, the flexibility made them stronger in the storm. Huh. You know, maybe your faith doesn't have, the perfect, what you think to be strength to it. Maybe you don't think you have the right amount of faith. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe the areas where you are bent, or where you struggle, or where you're nearly broke, those might be the places God is shaping you to endure future storms. We could just end it there, but there's so much more. You see that the walls that were facing the storm were built always thicker than the wall facing the land. The walls facing the storms away from land are about 10 to 15 feet thick. But yet the walls facing the land only 2 to 3 feet thick. What does this mean? I don't know. Maybe it means that God strengthens the part of your life facing the greatest pressure. The more you study about the Holy Spirit, you learn something very unique about him. He isn't shaken. The Holy Spirit is not overwhelmed. And he's definitely not moved by your storm. Psalm 119, verse 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet. Oh, it's not a floodlight. It's not a spotlight. It's just enough to guide you through your next step, step after step. And the lighthouse, I believe, beautifully illustrates this. The lighthouse has its own unique flash. I don't know if people know this. Each lighthouse has its own unique signature. No two are the same. A sailor can look into darkness, see the rhythm, and say, I know exactly where I am. Because each lighthouse, again, has its own unique flash. I think in the same way, the Holy Spirit guides each and every one of us uniquely. You don't have to shine like anyone else. Your rhythm, your story, your healing, your journey, that's yours. Mine is mine. Oh, and I don't wish mine on anybody. Trust me. Sometimes you only get enough clarity for the next faithful step, and that's enough. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, you are the light of the world. Here's something that inspired me deeply. I mean, it just rattled me. During the storms, lighthouse keepers became more active, not less, more active. That means the darker the storm, the harder they worked to protect the flame. Did you get that? The darker the storm, the harder they worked to protect the flame. And when your life and my life get darker, when your battle gets heavier and the Holy Spirit is aware of this, I don't imagine he rests. In fact, I think he never sleeps on these things. He moves closer, shines brighter. He becomes ever more present. It is in my weakness his power is made perfect, the Apostle Paul said. I think it's possible that the Holy Spirit turns your testimony into a beacon for somebody else. Your scars, your survival, your healing, your story, all of that may become the light that leads another person home. You might be someone today that you feel lost. Yeah, you feel overwhelmed. I know that feeling. Been there. Still, oftentimes I'm there. You feel like you're drifting without direction. I know how that feels too. But you know what, friends? I think that the Holy Spirit inside you is a lighthouse that never goes out. He's steady, he's bright, he's unmoved by your storm. Maybe it's time to follow his light. One step. Just take one step. Maybe one prayer. A moment of courage at a time. Maybe that light is what you need to guide you home. I think for me and anyone else who who feels trapped in a storm, it's okay to ask for help. Holy Spirit, guide my steps. Even if I can't see the shore. Strengthen the places that are under pressure in me, and turn my life into, beacons of hope for somebody else. I got three of these things today. And yet, each of these had a different artist, but yet with the same end result in mind. We say a lot of things about Jesus, God the Father, but maybe today you'll spend a little bit of time focusing in on what it is the Holy Spirit does in and through you. There's nothing like coming back home, but better than that is coming back home along with the people you love.